Hi, welcome back to another Stand on Guard. I'm your host, David Crayden. Really glad to be here this week. We've had another week of the Freedom Convoy trial going on in Ottawa. Of course, that is the trial that is going after Tamara Lich and Chris Barber, who the prosecution imagines are some sort of ringleaders in this whole thing. And they're trying to suggest that they were the ultimate leaders in this, and that what one person said meant the other person said it, and vice versa. But you know what they've been doing lately? They've been introducing witnesses. The prosecution has been introducing witnesses who are Ottawa residents and who are just terribly inconvenienced by this Freedom Convoy protest. But one witness in particular is very interesting, and that would be Zexi Lee. So let's come back and discuss who is Zexi Lee.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist.
Who is Zexi Lee? Well, she is not only a witness for the prosecution who appeared Monday with very contradictory testimony from the last time we saw her in such an environment, which was the Emergencies Act inquiry of about a year ago, where she testified at length. The testimony from that inquiry and the trial didn't quite match up at times, something that Tamara Leitz's lawyer, Lawrence Greenspan, pointed out to her and pointed out to the court. And it's quite interesting why the testimony didn't add up. Now, Greenspan noted that for once, she didn't have the same story about this egg carton incident. And this is when people in her apartment complex started throwing eggs at the truckers because they were supposedly so frustrated by this protest. Now, I wrote about all this in a post-millennial article, which you can find on the site. It went viral last night on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter. I encourage you to read it because I talk at length about these contradictions, including the egg story. Because at the Emergencies Act inquiry, Zexi Lee said that she was there. She talked to police about it. Yep, right front and center in the story. At the trial, she said, well, not exactly. I think I read about it on the Facebook page that belongs to the apartment complex I live in. So not quite the same. And Zexi Lee has also talked at length about a truck that backed into her. Now, she's never been very specific about whether or not she was actually hit by the truck. Did the truck actually hit her leg or her foot? Obviously not, because she's walking around fine. But was she seriously in danger? She admitted at the trial that she got out of the way. And so finally, no, there was no real incident with a truck, not to the extent that she was physically hurt or injured by it, which, of course, the implication for many people was that, yes, she had been. Now, it's very interesting that Mr. Greenspan also pointed out that during the lunch break, Zexi Lee was talking to her civil lawsuit lawyer. And of course, she is the lead plaintiff. As I've said, she's the lead plaintiff in a $300 million lawsuit against the Freedom Convoy. And these people want to squeeze as much money as they can out of these truckers because they really think they're evil people. And she's not supposed to be discussing her case, her testimony in a criminal trial with a civil lawsuit lawyer. And Greenspan asked, what did you two talk about? Zexi Li said, "Oh, we were just talking about lunch, what to do for lunch." And it was only a no more than 10-minute conversation. Now, Greenspan obviously was concerned. She has been told not to discuss the criminal lawsuit with her civil lawsuit lawyer. And if she did that, that would be a violation of the rules. Interestingly enough, after this confrontation with Greenspan, Zexi Li left the courtroom in tears. Upset. She said she was just so sad because I guess she wanted to be greeted as a hero. She came to the court with 2 police escorts. Now, I don't know if her life has been threatened. I don't know if she thinks her life is in danger, but certainly somebody does. And so she left the courtroom then. And of course, she kept calling the convoy an occupation, an occupation, an occupation, over and over again. And the defense counsel really objected to that because it really is grating and completely inaccurate. You want to see an occupation? Well, they had that in Paris during the Second World War, 4 years of that from Nazi Germany. That's an occupation. Some truckers protesting downtown Ottawa is not an occupation. That is just ridiculous. But, you repeat the same inane talking points over and over if you think it's going to help your case, especially if your case is $300 million lawsuit against those truckers. And that's what this is all about. And of course, Zexi Li likes to describe the truckers as just really nasty people. But who is Zexi Li? Let's have a look and see. This is a video that really encapsulates, I think, the real personality.
Been living in and amongst the chaos, the loud noise, the profanity for weeks now.
Okay. You know who I am? I'm fucking suing you, so.
So would you say that you felt unsafe walking the streets?
I didn't feel safe, but it's hard to describe it as unsafe.
It's not your city. Go back to it. It's not your city.
Can you describe what you mean by the egg throwing?
Well, there were very large trucks parked everywhere, and in some of these instances, they were parked right next to some high-rise condo buildings. And as a result, some people may have gotten some cartons of eggs and, had their little retaliation in frustration, because really, what else could they do? And when that incident occurred, I remember the police actually came to my building to inquire about the egg throwing, as a complaint had been made by the truckers. And I remember that I felt it as an affront.
My sons are dead because of this. No, they're not.
Get your vaccine.
I am a normal person.
Do your job.
Well, she's maybe a very normal person, but she apparently doesn't get her story right. There she is talking about this egg incident like she was there, saw it all. And she admitted this week that no, she read it all on Facebook. And where's the... I mean, how hypocritical can you be? She's the one swearing, using profanity against the protesters, saying that she's going to effing sue them. Yeah, and it is incredible the amount of hypocrisy that we've seen at this trial. But this is what the trial is all about. What else do we know about Zexi Li? Well, she was a co-director and a speaker at a leadership summit in 2022, sponsored by the ACCT. That's the Action Chinese Canadians Together. It's a lobby group organized by a Senator Wu. And one of the things this lobby group really is opposed to is a foreign agent registry. Now, you can look at the ACCT website for the rest of the week, if you wish, and you will not find any reference to either Zexi Li or to the 2022 Leadership Summit. It seems to have disappeared from the website. It's been totally redacted. So it's no longer there. So why is that? Are they not wanting Zexi Li to be associated with the organization? Is there a reason for that? These are good questions because once again, it comes back to what is the prosecution up to with witnesses like this? Witnesses who clearly think they have a financial gain from the Freedom Convoy being in Ottawa. What are they trying to do? Because the thing is, as I said previously, when we had another member of this lawsuit testify at the trial, why are they blaming their slowdown in sales, the fact that things were not great in downtown Ottawa? Yes, Ottawa was a wasteland in January, February 2022. It was. But largely because of rolling lockdowns from Mayor Jim Watson in Ottawa and Premier Doug Ford in Ontario. They had extremist COVID-19 mandates that included mandatory masking, effectively mandatory vaccines if you wanted to work or travel, and they were shutting down businesses because they could not operate above 25% capacity. And yes, the economy suffered horribly during that time, and people suffered socially, not being able to get out, not being able to meet with other people. Addiction rose, mental illness rose. Yes, Ottawa was a wasteland at that time, but don't blame the Freedom Convoy protest for that. That is ridiculous. And to bring all these Ottawa residents forward as prosecution witnesses is ultimately just a dumb strategy, because you have to wonder what they're trying to do. Find some element, something to stick against the convoy, and thereby to blame Tamara Lich and Chris Barber. And it's simply not working, because a lot of things were blamed on the convoy. If you recall, they were blamed for an arson that never happened. They were blamed for urinating, defecating on the streets, for leaving garbage everywhere. And they were even blamed for dancing on the tomb of the unknown soldier. A woman danced on the tomb of the unknown soldier, and that had to be one of the Freedom Convoy protesters. Turned out it wasn't, as has been reported multiple times. It was somebody who just came to Ottawa and decided to do something really stupid. And that's what all of this hearsay evidence has come to in the past, and that's what all this hearsay evidence will probably come to right now, because it's people talking about how horrid the conditions were, but they can't really remember dates or times or why these conditions were any different. We heard a witness last week, Chantel Biro, who talked about the fact she had experienced unusual smells in the market area, and she listed those as exhaust fumes, cigarette smoke, and weed. And anybody who's wandered through the market any other time will know that those three smells are usually present in the market any time of the year. But this is how desperate this prosecution is, by bringing forth these witnesses to talk about things like this. And what is this trial about? Yes, it's a show trial to a large degree. And yeah, it's about trying to make life miserable for Tamara Lich and Chris Barber, but it's also about a judicial chill to make people too damn afraid to protest Trudeau government policies. Because if you protest the wrong things, if your free speech is on the wrong side, and if your freedom of assembly is getting together for the wrong policies, then Justin Trudeau and the judicial system is going to punish you for that. So that's what this is all about, scaring people out of protesting. Because really, there's not much else here to see. So this has been a fascinating week, again, of Ottawa residents coming forth basically saying the same thing. But Zexi Li was indeed a fascinating witness. And I think that video says it all. Thanks for watching today. I want to remind you to support this station. Ring that bell, subscribe, financially support us, and just watch this video for a minute to explain why.
Hi, this is David Crayden from Crayden's Right and Stand on Guard. Join the resistance. Resolve to resist. Become a member of this station. I've been practicing journalism in one form or another for over 30 years. I've worked in print, radio, and television for a lot of prestigious publications and media outlets. I was an Armed Forces Public Affairs officer. I worked in Parliament Hill. I know how Ottawa works, and I know how corrupt federal government can be. But you can play a part in opposing Justin Trudeau's government and Justin Trudeau's plans for Canada. You can become a part of the Crayden's Right resistance. Now, I urge you today, please support this station in any way you can. Ring that bell, subscribe, because that ensures you're at least going to continue to be able to watch these episodes. You'll beat the algorithm. But more importantly, I need your financial support. I hate to ask, but that's what I'm doing. I made a decision to pursue independent media because I believed it was the best possible route for me to take as a journalist and as a concerned citizen of Canada. So you can become a part of that. And at only $5, you can become a part of that on YouTube, on Substack, and with Buy Me a Coffee, a one-time donation. But I need your support. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. If you've already done that, if you're already supporting the station, thank you. But if you haven't, make that decision today.
Thanks for watching. We'll be back again real soon with more of the news